Hi, I'm Gina with Peace, Love, and Homeschool, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about curriculum. Yes, we're back with the Homeschool Curriculum Review hosted by April from the Simple Rugged Path. I encourage you to check out her channel right here listed in the little I. And today's topic for the curriculum review is vocabulary and spelling. So before we talk about that, last week's topic was grammar. If you'd like to check out anything from last week, if you haven't seen it yet, I have the playlist listed down below. And by going to that playlist, that list is really growing. So many people are participating in this and all these different subjects that we have that we're discussing and reviewing. You just might find exactly what you've been looking for, or you may find something that you never thought of using before. You really should go check it out when you have a chance. Now, my last video that I did in this collab was history. So if you haven't seen my history video yet, you can check it out right up here. It's on Mystery of History, and I do share a lot of the activities that we did when we did Mystery of History. For spelling, I was always wanting my kids to learn spelling naturally. My daughter showed early signs of wanting to be a writer and write stories, so I taught her how to use the keyboard and the computer in 2nd grade. So she took off, she took off naturally with keyboarding, and she started writing stories. Well, she would write stories in Microsoft Word, and in Microsoft Word there's a little red line under any words that you misspell. That was her motive to spell correctly. She would notice the word, she would learn it, and she would eventually start spelling better. So we didn't really use a curriculum with her. She just learned naturally. As for my son, he's a bit different. He's never been a writer. He's never been a huge reader other than when he was really small and read short, children's books. So with him, it's been a bit different. I believe in waiting on certain subjects until they're really ready to learn them, because with my son, doing spelling was like pulling teeth. It really was. He was just not interested, didn't want to learn how to spell. I tried to teach him keyboarding. He wasn't interested in that. He was not writing stories. He was not reading as much as I wanted him to. He was way more hands-on and wanting to learn how to do things. He has always had an interest in working with wood. I haven't done anything with that. I've been hoping to. So he really does show a lot more hands-on. But by going to Homeschool Co-op and going to our church, he is feeling a little bit of the heat about not knowing how to spell as well as he should. So now all of a sudden, Mom, can you teach me spelling? So what I decided to do, because I really didn't know what to do from there, what we did early on with my daughter Stephanie, and this was for a very short time, we took a notebook, we put 26 pieces of lined paper in there. Each paper was a letter, A, B, C, D. We lettered them all the way through to Z. And whenever she had words that she didn't know, we would write it down in the notebook. That didn't last very long because she really was doing well on her computer work, so we just kind of dropped it. So I started that with my son, but it wasn't going too well either. And then he came to me and spoke with me again that he was very concerned, wanted to spell better. So I did my research and I came up with Spelling Wisdom by Simply Charlotte Mason. And you can buy these online and print them up yourselves. I think you can also buy them online and they'll send them to you as well, but I just went ahead and printed this up myself. So here's, my notebook that I put it in for him, and put the first page in here so he knows what it is. There are 5 books in the Spelling Wisdom series. We are on the first one, and it's pretty simple for my son. He knows a lot more than he realized. So, here's exercise 1, Motto for Students by Charlotte Mason. It says, I am, I can, I ought, I will. So what I do is I had my son study this. Then we did it in the form of dictation. So I read this out to him and he wrote it on a piece of paper. anything he misspelled, we would keep back. This was very easy for him. He could spell it. So what we decided to do, since these are all pretty easy for him, we have done like 6 or 7 a day without him really studying them. I just read it to him and he wrote them down and he did really well. We found a little notebook, and it wasn't until the 5th lesson that he even misspelled anything. So we wrote it out here and highlighted it. That's in my writing. He circled it. So then we did this on others. He started misspelling at least one here and there. So after we got about 10 together, then we had him list them on a piece of paper and study them. And then we did like a spelling test. It wasn't like for the grade, it was just to see where he was at, to gauge where he was at. And so that is how we plan on improving his spelling. I don't know how far we're going to go in these books, but for now they're working. It helps him to feel like he's learning his word, learning how to spell better. And if that works and he's happy with doing it, then that's what we're going to do. Now the other thing we have is we have been studying our vocabulary with English from the roots up. Here's the book. The green is in Greek and the red is in Latin. And here's information that you should read as a teacher. Then I did go to these pages, to the index, and I printed up these pages just so I could keep track myself where he was at. And then I also printed up the Greek alphabet page for him. And then like the first page is photos. So what you're supposed to do is have a discussion on this word, show them how the words fit together. And for example, photos means light. So if you have photograph, graph means to write or draw. So a photograph is a picture drawn by light. Okay, so like here, photophilia. Philia means love. Photo means light. So photophilia is a love of light. They also encourage you to help your child come up with new words based on the words he's learning. So what they do is they do 3 of these cards per week. And then on the 4th and 5th day of the week, they study these words. And then so the next week they will do 3 more cards. And then the 4th and 5th day they will study all the words, all 6 words that they've learned. They're supposed to take a little index card and outline it in green and put the word there and copy all this information here to the back of the card. My daughter, being the writer that she was, and it helped her to learn, she would write it all down and learn it. My son, it was not helping him to learn. It's completely different. He hates to write since he was very little, and he just took forever making his cards. So one day a friend of mine had these cards for sale. They're a used packet of English from the Roots Up cards. Here's an example of one of the cards. It tells you it's Greek. By being in green, you know it's Greek. If it was in red, you know it's Latin. Here's all the information on the back of the card for them to learn. The only thing is that this pack was missing some cards. So I was hoping he would use the cards he had made, because we did start off with him making cards. But he didn't like them, so he wanted to use his sister's. So we have his sister's cards here. And she's written them all out. So we have a mixture. So we have a mixture of the new and the old. So there are several ideas and games. I found a handout. I don't know what to call it. I found a downloadable form that had tests. It had game ideas. It had all sorts of information that I downloaded. If I can find out where I got that from, I will list it down below. It came in real handy. I don't do testing for the grades right now. I do testing to gauge where we're at. He is doing very well on his tests for vocabulary. Getting these cards was a real help. It took the focus off the struggle and put the focus back on the learning. So I recommend that every time. If you are struggling with your kids, find a way to eliminate the struggle. Find a way to make it more interesting, that they'll like it, and that they'll want to do it. Because that's what has really worked for my kids. I think as we continue forward, the reason I like the English from the Roots Up is that it will help my son, should he decide to go to college, it will help him figure out the words and the testing that he needs to do for college. So I am not in a rush with this. We have been going through this for a while. I want to finish this book hopefully by this year or next year. And then we'll start with the second volume. We're definitely going to go through with it. I've only just recently learned that he really doesn't care for English from the Roots Up. My daughter loved it. She ate it up. She loved knowing the root words and putting new words together. And at first my son thought it was pretty cool too. I think he caught a little bit of her enthusiasm, and then over time I think it just kind of was like not that big of a deal to him anymore. But I am going to try to make him go through both volumes. I don't want to make it into a power struggle, but I think it would be in his best interest, especially if he decides to go to college. And at this point he's not sure what he wants to do yet, so I think I need to prep him in that direction. My daughter loved this book so much that she has requested that when we're done with it, that it is hers. So that will be her reward when he's done, is she'll get her English from the Roots Up. Look. It really is a no-brainer. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we're going to stick with it for sure. I hope you're enjoying this series. It's been a lot of fun for me to watch these videos and really learn about what other people are using. Next week we'll be reviewing Cynce, so if you want to see that, please make sure that you visit that playlist down below. I believe you can subscribe to it, even. You should check it out. Go to the playlist and look for a subscribe button for just the playlist even. And also you can go to April's channel, subscribe to her channel, and you'll see her videos come up so you'll know we have a new crop of videos for the week. And you could also subscribe to my channel here. So make sure and visit that playlist and you'll be one informed homeschooler, that's for sure. So that's about all I have on this topic for now. If you found this video informative or helpful in any way, if you wouldn't mind, please give us a thumbs up. That would really help us out. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace out. If you missed my last video, no worries. You can check it out right here. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel right here. Be sure to ring that little bell so you know each and every time we upload.